Hello everyone, MeanSpeed here with another Renegade line video. Today I'm going to be talking about the new video that we got from Raw Vengeance, which featured some in-game footage with a heavy emphasis on the various settings and options the game has. And I'll also quickly cover a few, more Crosshair contest voting results at the end. So yeah, this was as an Easter special type thing, I believe, and it was also pretty much good timing because a lot of people on the forums were asking for more news in the form of a video. So before I get to what we were shown and informed of, I'm going to mention a few things that I spotted. So, first of all, we can see the mini-map in the top right corner of the screen. It's vastly improved since the last time we saw it. Now it has, colour to it. It has more life to it, and we can see various icons for flags, map objects and more. So I think it's a huge improvement from before and when we last saw it. The footage itself is being recorded on the testing grounds or the test map for the game, and that's simply because many changes were actually made to the main map, so I'm guessing Raw Vengeance didn't feel like showing them at this time. And to be honest, if the main map was used for the basis of this video, which is a setting showcase type thing, people would be more focused on the changes on the map, more so than the settings, at least in my opinion. We can see the wooden bridge in the background for a few seconds, as well as what appears to be the dam according to the minimap itself. And it's kind of a shame we didn't get to see more of this stuff around, but yeah, there wouldn't have been that much anyway since it's the test map, and obviously that wasn't the focus of the video to begin with. The font we can see in the menus isn't final, by the way, and Raw Vengeance are actually looking for a font designer. So, anyone out there, maybe someone who's watching this video who's good at that sort of thing, should definitely contact Raw Vengeance, since there's surely going to be a good prize for helping them with that. I don't know what it might be, but I'm guessing it could be an alpha key. I'm not sure, but yeah. We can see a crate in the background with a red aura around it, which I think is quite interesting, and it could potentially be an ammo crate of sorts, since we know the game will have limited ammo, or it could be something else, like a package that needs to be protected or collected for a specific game mode, though I'm leaning more towards it being an ammo drop. And that seems like the more likely option. And because of the colour choice, it might be, specific for a certain faction in the game based on the flag colours as well. So maybe it's something to do with that. And finally, I noticed that there isn't an in-game cursor as of yet. So once again, maybe that's something that will be for someone else to create, a member of the community maybe, or maybe it'll just be added by the team at a later stage. So we have a suicide button as an option, which can be good or bad, to be honest, depending on how it's implemented. I mean, if you're stuck in a spot on a map and you can't get out of it, or the game bugs out for whatever reason, and you can't play the game properly and, as intended, a suicide button is of course a great idea to counter those issues, but it could be spammed a lot. So maybe it should be so, I don't know, you have to wait a bit before being able to use it, or maybe there could be a limit on how many times you can use it per round, or maybe even just have it like in Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2, where you can only suicide if you don't get hit for a certain period of time, which I think is good because it prevents people from suiciding mid-fight, which would of course be quite irritating and annoying. We have an inventory option which can be accessed while you're dead, so you can probably change your outfit while you're dead and, spawn in with a new one, which could be problematic if it was possible to do while alive, especially if everyone in the server was doing that, since it could maybe lag the server or just cause problems like, FPS issues and such. So the settings menu itself is mostly the same from when we first saw a screenshot of it back in August of last year, though there are a few more additions and a HUD tab which is new. I mean, most of this is basic stuff you'd expect from a new game, a game in 2016 on PC in terms of options, but I'm glad Raw Vengeance are thinking ahead and planning more resolution options for the future and stuff like that. So yeah. It's a shame that the very high quality option wasn't shown properly though, because even though there isn't much on the test map, it still would have been nice to see the differences between high and very high by, comparing the graphics on the house on the left, for example. We did see a small preview of the game's graphics when the settings were changed, but it wasn't that easy to make out. Though I do think, even on low, the game does look decent from what we could just about see. There's a free cam option, but I'm not sure how I feel about it at the moment, since that might be unfair in that you could get an overview of the map and see where the enemy team is and things like that. But maybe there will be restrictions on that feature depending on what server you're in, what game mode you're on, who knows. Of course, I do still like free cam as an option. I think it's a great way to make awesome screenshots and videos. We can see that there's a front camera option as well, which is most likely going to be similar to BFH's face cam, so that's really good, I think. It's a very useful feature to see if there's anything behind you, especially if you don't use game sounds and the like to tell if someone or something is close to you. And of course, it's good for seeing your character and whatever nice customization you've got. Speaking of options similar to BFH, there's a taunt selector, which is no doubt a pop-up menu of sorts where we can choose what taunt to use in the game. And I'm hoping there isn't a small limit to this, because if you bought a lot of the taunts in the game, you'd want to show them off. I mean, who wouldn't? And having a small limit to how many you can take into the game with you and display wouldn't be that great, at least to me. We can see vehicle and aircraft settings, which basically confirms them at this point, since there are actual controls for them. And, you know, I know it was possible we would get them and it might have seemed a bit obvious maybe, but this is the first official mention of them so far. So yeah, they're basically confirmed at this point as such. There are options to hide elements of the HUD, like the XP bar, the minimap and stuff like that, and I think that's good to have, since sometimes all of that on the screen at once can seem a bit too much and, you know, a bit cluttered. And it would also be easier to make good screenshots that way by disabling those things. Excuse me. On the subject of screenshots, there's actually a screenshot option built into the game, so you can make a screenshot while in the game, and you don't have to use anything external like Fraps or another program, and you don't need to bother with print screen and then saving the image somewhere, since I'm almost certain the game takes the screenshot and saves it to a respective folder the game is under. So yeah, I think it's a nice addition in case you want to quickly take a screenshot of, you know, maybe a level up, for example, or just a certain moment you feel is screenshot worthy. There's a crosshair section which allows us to choose between a lot of different ones instead of, you know, being forced into one, as in the sole winner for each weapon category, which I think is nice, but it would still be good to create your own instead of just choosing from a predetermined set, at least in my opinion. We can also choose to hide the crosshair, which will also be good for screenshots in terms of, you know, making something artistic without clutter and extra unneeded stuff in the way. And it can also make for interesting duels to see who dies first with the crosshair hidden. It just makes things that bit more interesting to me. And I actually did do some duels in BFH with the crosshair disabled, so it'll be fun to try that in Renegade Line as well. Finally, we can see that the game is supported in 4 languages at the moment, most of them being the more popular languages within the community, such as English and German, though Polish is missing, and the Polish Renegade Line community is fairly large, so Raw Vengeance are working on getting it into the game, and I'm sure in the future other languages such as French and stuff will also be in the game. So yeah, I think I covered most of the more important things in the video, to me at least. Though it would have been sweet if Eliot misclicked and chose the inventory option by accident, since I'd really like to see that. But yeah, hopefully we can see that soon. Anyway, onto the crosshairs now. And most of this is outdated stuff, but I still feel like talking about them just for a bit and giving them some coverage. Of course, with the recent information we received, we can also choose from the crosshairs that made it to the voting stages and not just the winner. So anything that won is purely for someone to get an alpha key at this stage. Starting with the non-scoped sniper rifle crosshairs, I'm glad that 3 was the more wanted option, since I think the others, you know, were maybe a bit too forgiving for something that should be hard to do, something that should be difficult to pull off in a shooter game, you know, no scoping. And maybe 2 would be better off as a shotgun crosshair anyway. For the grenade launcher crosshairs, I actually think all of them are solid. You know, I don't have any issues with any of them. I think they're all suitable for that weapon, so I'll definitely look forward to switching between the 6 to see which one plays the best for me. Now, the one that made me laugh a bit, to be honest, when seeing it, well, here it is, the rocket launcher crosshairs. Obviously, the most popular and current winning crosshair, because this poll hasn't finished yet, is 5, and it's literally a thicker version of the BFH RPG crosshair, so there's no surprise there, really, in terms of popularity. Now, I was only laughing to, to see that it was included, and not because I'm against it, since I genuinely think it's a good crosshair for such a weapon, but of course, I'll switch it up from time to time and experiment with more unique ones, such as 1, for example. So yeah, at this point, the contest is almost over, with, I believe, only the grenade crosshairs to be chosen. So really that means when the contest is over, there's less stuff to talk about, unless, hopefully more game-related information can be used in place of the crosshair voting news. That would be really good in my opinion. Well, to be honest, I think a lot of people want stuff like that anyway. But yeah, guys, that was it for this video. Hopefully I've covered enough of this for you, and hopefully you enjoyed. And I'll see you next time with maybe a Battlefield Heroes 42 video or another Renegade Line video, depending on what news we get. So yeah, thanks for watching.